Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a comic book show. We take comic books from the past week, and we talk about them, review them, and let you know what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think that you should check out. We also decide between the two of us what is the book of the week. We also have super chats. Of course, if you are watching the show live here on youtube.com/ComicPop, why wouldn't you be? Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications so you know when we're going live, which is, of course, Mondays between 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you're catching us live, you can sponsor today's show by using the super chats. Ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. It'll be part of the show forever. And we'll read those later on today. But for now, we're just going to jump into the news and the comic book reviews. I should also mention at the top of the hour that that is to say, I will be chatting with Chris over from Comic Tropes on his supplemental YouTube channel, Pros and Cons, around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're catching us live, make sure to swing by and check us out over there after the show's over. The link is in the pinned comment in the chat right now. So hopefully we'll see you there as well. But if you are catching us after the fact, it's always going to be there. So you can always go there and check it out if you want to. But otherwise, just like the video. I appreciate it. Of course, if you're listening to the show, you can give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. Please do so. It helps us out and pushes us further and further up the chain in the comic book world of audio podcasting. What's up?
There's a little button up here.
Yeah, that's a ball cap button. You
no, I
always
know,
have a
but
button at the
push
top.
it. There's space.
Yeah. Well, you're not wearing it as snugly as most folk do, or as people used to.
I guess. Anyway.
Yeah. And of course, your hat is horribly out of date because now DC has upgraded their logo.
Now it's vintage.
Now it's vintage. Vintage. What, 14th iteration of the DC logo, which is in and of itself just a variation
I
of the 70s
still like
logo.
it on the hat. Looks good.
Looks good on the hat. Yeah, it reads. But I do need
because it's like embroidered. So this is a good level of like minimalism for embroidery.
It's true. We do need the Bullet logo hat though. That's a must get at some point. Yes. And unlike what they had at San Diego, I would like to have that hat be it just says the logo.
Yeah, not the
studios part.
Well, yeah. So, hooray! Yeah. I know we've got a lot to get to.
We do have a lot
and
to get to.
And I know it's also Labor Day, so I assume our audience might be a little more intimate today with the live audience. And
I think that might be true.
And that is A-okay.
But very okay.
There was an unnecessary amount of books that came out this week.
Yeah.
In fact, we went to a comic book store we don't normally get to.
Yeah. And
it's a great comic book store.
Yes.
It's a great store. If you're ever down in Newark.
That's right.
Head over to Fortress of Solitude. Great comic book store. Got a little on their site you can learn about the person who runs it. But they're great. They have been in the industry for quite a while, running a comic book store. It's just maybe had a couple of different locations, not like they closed and then reopened, but they were had a shop here and then moved it and now they're where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
He's also captain of the fire department.
That's
right.
I was
real life hero running a freaking comic book store.
I know, it's true.
And they got a good mixture of new books
mm-hmm.
and previous month's books and back issues, and they have dollar boxes right at the door. You walk in, dollar boxes right there.
Mm-hmm.
They got trades, all of it. And he's a really helpful guy. I heard him as we were poking around because we tend to just kind of poke, right? I'm poking around, looking at the table, looking at this, whatever. But there was someone up at the front and they were looking for something. He's like, I might have that. Hang on. And ran out to go find it and did in fact find it. So I was awesome shop. Love going. And we've been to that store before, but we haven't been in a minute. We were down in that area and we decided to go. And but we got a little feedback.
We did,
not for our channel, but it was just something, and I noticed it too. I was like, I think you're right about that. It's that summer is not the best time for a lot of comics to come out.
It's true, or the biggest books.
And it's been a heavy lift this summer. There's just been a lot of books.
Yeah.
And that it seems to be that the comic book industry is treating it as though they're blockbuster movies, which I get it. But you can't do it all because it's they think people have all this time off, and it's but they have all this time off and they're doing things, or they have all this time off and they're watching those movies.
Yeah.
There's only so much time during the summer. And in fact, we tend to see you guys are away, you're doing stuff. You've got places to be.
It's true. No, we see a drop off on YouTube. I mean, it's just you can't approach your industry the same way as the movie industry because it isn't the same industry. And your audiences are going to have very different reactions to media and like when is the best time.
Right,
I mean, like,
right.
and again, there's always outliers, but like, you know, in the realm of comics, cozy, quiet, cool makes more sense to put out your books.
Yeah.
You know, I know the inclement weather kind of is a problem, but like, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, and like people might be more willing to stock up on some books because they're like, well,
I'm only gonna make it out for this amount of time.
Or like, you know, I might have a snowy day where I'm home, or like I don't have as many places to go when it's cold. So I felt that this week there was like a ridiculous amount of books this week that I was reading, and I was like, this could have been better planned out.
Yes, spaced out.
But I'm like, obviously you're trying to obviously you're gonna want all your reads for your weekend.
Yeah, I want to spend like 6 or 7 hours on like the couch just reading books. And like, it's unfeasible to expect that.
For some people it works and some people it doesn't. But like, you know, like I spent part of the weekend on a river. I wasn't bringing my books with me then.
No, that would be sacrilege.
Yeah, on phone or in physical.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Digital or physical, that was not a place.
It was not a place for reading.
For reading at all.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, this week I was like, wow, there's just so many books that came out, and in fact, like some I didn't even get a chance to like that I might have wanted to try out. It's just it was a lot. It was a lot.
It's true. Yeah, I was also very busy this weekend, so as a result, I didn't get a chance to read everything I wanted to. I didn't get a chance to read Archie by Tom King. I'm sad. I have it. I got it thanks to Fortress of Solitude in Newark.
Yeah.
Anyway. So there's a bunch of books, but the takeaway I think for folks should be, you know, hey, consider your audience and their shopping habits. Now, maybe the industry has some empirical data that says that there was a lot more shopping, a lot more foot traffic in the summer months. I would argue that maybe the foot traffic might be higher, but I wonder about the spending habits.
But I wonder if the spending habits are the shop data is more that they're buying, you know, if you're getting more foot traffic, they may not be like monthly readers.
Mm-hmm.
There might be people who are like coming in to pick up some trades.
Yeah.
And maybe not grab like
the month to month. Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tiffany, tell us about X-Force, because that was one of those books that I missed out on.
I did read X-Force this week, but I did not read X-Men. I chose to read X-Force and not X-Men.
Fair.
Jeff Thorne, I hope I want you to hear that, because like it wasn't just because like, you know,
you're a big fan of the show, a friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show. It literally because I was just like, between those two, I'd rather read X-Force than read X-Men right now. That's just how
every time I see something from
doesn't mean I won't go back and try it.
No,
but like I literally this week I was like,
if I have to make a choice,
this is an X-Force week for sure, and I'm not disappointed at all. I think I made the right call, like 100%. I think I made the right decision. I don't know what happened in X-Men, obviously, but like I feel like I made the right decision to read X-Force, written by Jeff Thorne with art by Marcus To. Love both these creators, love this team together. Marcus To, I was introduced to their art via Shang-Chi.
Yes.
And like it's just killing it on this book for sure. I love the idea of this team going out there. Obviously, whatever Forge has got cooking.
Yes.
We'll find out, right?
We'll see.
But like for right now, he is providing us all sorts of fun adventures, right?
Exactly.
And this book in particular, Jeff Thorne tapping into a little bit of like magic going on there. So I was all about it. I was all about it, and I love Sage approaching this like Ethan would. just I hate magic.
Right?
Nope. It's all math.
Right.
Like, trying to make sense of it all. Really appreciated that. This book gives me like. This issue in particular gave me I know you didn't play it, but if you out in the community there have played Control.
Oh yeah, I've seen you play Control. So.
Yeah, like this team going out after, items or events that are going on, like made me want that in the Marvel universe. I'm like, I want a Control-esque team in the Marvel universe. No one will read it. I understand that.
Unless you call it something that people will understand.
Sure,
like
sure. Or you make it like a digital like book. Like then people might be interested in after the fact, because then they could pick it up as a trade.
Right.
Because they just go and collect it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm really, really enjoying learning about this team, learning about their dynamic. I think the fact that the team is only 6 people. Which
really keeps it tight.
It keeps it tight, and we even added it was 5 people, and then we added one more person.
Deadpool.
No.
No, in the previous one.
Oh, well, yeah, but now it's Surge. Surge
Right.
is on the
We're
team.
swapping out with Surge, yeah.
But she's like there.
Yeah.
You know, like she is 100% there. But you know, we're focusing a lot on the Forge Sage dynamic, which I really, really dig quite a bit. But we are leaving room, obviously, for each of these like one-off sort of adventures that are progressing this overall story to focus in on some of the other characters, right?
Wouldn't they?
You know, even in this, like, the idea here is that they end up in Wakanda, and it's really funny because it's like told from Sage's narration, and she essentially is just like, you know, for all like kind of describes like her powers, really, you know, and like how brilliant her mind is. But like she's like, and like, so I can't explain to you why we thought we could get into Wakanda like without someone knowing, right?
Of course.
But the idea here is that like there is a magical artifact that is being utilized, not really for its intended purposes, in order to try to bring Wakanda and potentially the rest of the world back to what they feel like it should be, like back in like the past,
I see,
and like magic and all that, right?
You mean regressing society, not necessarily actually like plunging the world into a previous time period?
No, trust me, they're in outfits and you know all that. It's, you know, it's quite. I mean, I don't want to ruin it because I know you want to read it at some point.
It's true, I do.
But yeah, so we got these elements going on there. But what I really enjoy about it is that, like, you know, first of all, when we talk about like Batman and having Batman like deal with the magical, I love that because Batman is staunchly against it, even though he's often dragged into it. Yes. It feels like Sage being involved with Betsy in particular being on this team. I'm like,
of the core.
I freaking love the idea that Sage is going to have to run up against this occasionally. It's occasionally Magic's going to show up, and she's like, "But I'm not prepared. But I hate it. Yeah, I don't like it. It doesn't make any sense, and I'm staunchly against it." But yeah, so like this was a one-off adventure where it's just like, all right, we got to do this thing in Wakanda. They do the thing, and then at the end, people who had kind of been dragged into this, like a la Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
You know the show?
Yes.
Where it's like
where the town was like sucked in.
Yeah. So folk have been like dragged into this, and they're like, oh yeah, no, we know you, Sage, like we know you like of mutantdom and Forge and all of that, and the rest of you. We don't know who the big guy is though. And he's like, I'm Tank. She's like, all right, fine. And I'm like, I appreciate that because it's kind of like a wink and a nod, but it's like maybe you don't know a lot about Tank. Right. And maybe one day we'll tell you a little bit more about that. I know this is like, I believe, a limited series.
I don't know.
I don't know. I
assume it's an ongoing.
I kind of thought all of them were like 5-6 issues. Some of them were 4 issues.
Well, I mean, at Marvel, everything's only about 5 or 6 issues.
Sure. But I just like the dynamic of this team. It just feels in good spirit, right? You know, like this is a book that, you know, is following Krakoa and the tight knitness of it, and this is a book that's kind of saying, yes, there is like this overall issue with everyone hates mutants, and that is mentioned in this 100%, but that these books kind of feel a little away from one another. Yes. Like, you know, we aren't dealing with, every book isn't dealing with like the main story or the main, overarching thing, like about like Krakoa.
Yeah, despite the fact that it's like From the Ashes is like the era that this period of X-Men's
I also kind of appreciate it because this really lends itself to these like one-off adventures that has its own little story going on. Yeah. And in theory, it could be pulled into whatever is going on, but it doesn't have to deal exclusively with it. Right. And honestly, with me not loving the vibe of the X-Men book overall, and it being a little similar-ish to the other X-Men book that's out there, this is nice. This is refreshing. It's playing in the world that is you know, being established, but it's also giving you like a little bit of a break. Exactly. So I dig it. I'm looking forward to more, and I'm looking forward to finding out like where we're walking the line here with Forge.
Oh, sure,
like, what's going on with Forge? Right. So yeah, I right now I'm loving X-Force, and I'm looking forward to the next issue.
I'm glad. Well, I read Green Arrow number 15 from Josh Williamson with Amonse Nahuelpan. I'm going to assume that's your name until I'm corrected. Otherwise, I apologize for that. But yeah, this is more Green Arrow. So Green Arrow, as I pointed out before, like it could have ended at issue 11 or 12. Continues. It is connected with Absolute Power, but like this one feels a lot more essential as far as like required reading for Absolute Power. Only as much as you need to know like where Green Arrow is and what his story is, because Green Arrow, of course, betrayed the Justice League, and what he doing? What's he doing with Amanda Waller and stuff?
I love this robot.
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
Like like he's just so joyous in what he's doing. You gotta love what you do.
It's true. And
You'll never work a day in your
that's
life.
to him. He's not working at all.
He's
He
just-
loves like tossing arrow characters.
Yeah, right off of a plane.
Right.
Just
but yeah.
loving it.
The only thing that the Arrow family is like, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna break in.
Sure.
We're gonna go to Gamora Island and we're gonna kick ass and get Ollie back and figure this out. Meanwhile, Ollie is of course bequeathed the mantle. Red Arrow, Speedy, Arsenal, whatever, rejects the mantle. Then Connor takes it up, and the team works together. And it's just very like, if you love any single member of the Arrow family, you're probably going to enjoy this series because it's just watching them work together and be extraordinary. It's a lot of fun. You watch the team work together, try and acquire Ivo, who, of course, his technology has been used by Amanda Waller to create Amazo androids, which are stealing the powers of the Justice League. If we get Ivo, maybe we can fix this.
Right.
Maybe we can undo it, or maybe we can use him to get to the bottom of this whole thing. It's a lot of fun. Of course, there is a last page reveal, which I'm sure you could have seen coming a mile away if you were reading this, or if you love Ollie Queen Green Arrow. So I won't spoil it for you, but I will say, if you like Green Arrow, you're probably going to still enjoy this series for as long as Josh is on it. I know that Josh is leaving Green Arrow soon, so it's going to be wrapping up this arc. But definitely worth picking up if you like Green Arrow. Again, I only reinforce that point because, like, if you don't like Green Arrow, you're probably not going to get a lot out of it outside of like watching a bunch of characters do their thing, or interact with each other and make references or refer to their relationships as though you should know the context for it.
Right.
But yeah, so that's a lot of fun. It's a really great series. It's and consistently fantastic art. Sean Isaacs was on the art. You've had Phil Hester come in every once in a while, and this new guy doing a great job.
Right.
So it's totally worth checking out if you like Green Arrow.
Excellent.
I know I've said that 1,000 times, but it's definitely worth repeating.
Great.
So yeah, check that out. I also, you can take one.
I read Ultimate X-Men number 6 this
Yay.
week. I just figured we'd stake in the House of X.
This was almost
the
thumbnail for today's episode because I was like, oh, nothing really huge came out. And then I was like, oh, wait.
Like everything
came out. And I actually changed it, like, I think twice.
No, this is a great thumbnail. Again, this series.
I was actually worried people wouldn't understand what the hell they were looking at.
On this?
Well, they would be like, oh, a manga show.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand that. I love that indie digital. Look at that. Like, they give me the book with the title on it, and then they give it to me without.
I like that a lot.
It's awesome.
And I appreciate that they're not tailored to the format.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
That they are actually trying to they're like, draw the whole thing and we'll make the left column thing not,
It'll be semi-transparent. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I freaking love this series. I will say though, those you trade weight, you're gonna love it.
Oh, even more.
I'm telling you right now, because like the first few pages of this, I was like, right, okay, yep, I'm back. And then literally like page 3, I'm like just like salivating for like the next. Like I'm like, okay, more. Oh, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like it's just really strongly written. You're just really hitting on the fact that it's like, well, I definitely have some idea of where this might be going because I have any
context or history for X-Men.
But I also know I have literally no idea where this is going.
Yeah.
Because I know she's just throwing it all. She's just doing whatever. She's doing her own version of this, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Right. Like just so exciting.
Yeah.
I love a lot of also the imagery in this book that harkens back to things like there is essentially this religious cult. It involves Homo Superior. Main character's grandma. No, sorry. I think it's not her grandma who is doing it.
Okay.
I think it's Nico's grandma who is doing some investigating on this. We've got a book on it. And we're learning a little bit about this religious cult. And it turns out 2 of their other friends are like, oh yeah, our parents are involved with that. Cool, whatever. Get some more character development for their antagonists. But we see a little bit of this cult, and it's very Ghost in the Shell in a way with all the tubes and stuff like that. But then with the things on their head, it's it makes you think Cerebro.
Of course. So it's they're taking that visual, but making it completely and wholly unique and original and catered to the sensibilities of where it's coming from, the origins of this title. And
exactly. And there was really something in this issue about watching like our three like protagonists, like it's like kind of like power up and like decide they're going to fight the antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it got me. I was like, it's X-Men.
Watch it. Look at them all.
What's happening? And I was like, but
in such a weird, different,
very different way. But yeah, I literally, like, I desperately wish that this was just out as a whole.
Yeah,
because
to be
at
a
the end of this
thing.
You know, we see this image at the end, and I gotta tell you, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like what, like they're letting on to,
yes.
right? You know,
I like how, if I may, the fact that, like, you know, because our, you know, English versus Japanese, they treat their language with kanji like it is a drawing, like it's an image, whereas we don't regard, you know, we occasionally will transform our lettering into an image, but like, I don't know, I see the Japanese culture as kind of like taking lettering and making it's much more visual and illustrative.
Well, it's funny because it's like all language in a way is symbolic, right?
Yes.
Like we know, like, you know, the letter A makes a certain sound, and when put together with other things, it means something else.
And it looks like a teepee, like, you know, it could be
like,
anything.
And when you put, like, you know, a certain number of them together, it makes a word, and that word means something. So like when you see a bunch of letters together, it means something. But like kanji itself, like the parts of it mean different things.
Exactly.
And so like two people can have like the same sounding name, but depending on the kanji that's used for their name, their names mean different things.
Right.
And like that's so neat, right?
Yeah.
Additionally, at the end of this, of course, there is the lexicon, which I love. This one really goes into superstitions in particular.
Oh, great.
And actually made me feel like really weird about, like, when I was a little kid. Does anyone remember doing this in school where you would take, like, they'd give you, like, either they would give you a Tootsie Pop and they put a tissue over it, you tie it out the neck, and then you put like you make little ghosts, or you literally would just take a bunch of tissues, wad them up, and then cover it, and then tie like something
rubber band around it. Yeah,
and then you're like, that's a superstition.
Is it
for them? And I was like,
oh, they're like, don't make ghosts.
No. It's more like, you know, if it's raining outside, you put them in your window and it'll make it like sunny. But I was like, did we do that
appropriate
thing?
it,
did we just appropriate that, or is it just because
did someone just see it and go like, that's cool, we're gonna do that?
I don't know, right? I'm just like, Anyway, they also, because Nico's grandma's book is all obviously written in Japanese.
Of course.
At the end, there's a breakdown of everything that's in there.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
I was like,
Thank
love
you.
it. Again, just the attention to detail in this book. Love Ultimate X-Men. If you're not reading it right now, when you hear that the trade is coming out and you want to support this, you want to support this type of storytelling moving forward, please pre-order it.
Oh yeah.
You will not regret it. It's just, it's going to be such a great read altogether. In fact, I'm looking forward to reading it all together again. I definitely think I'm going to take something more out of it, because reading it issue to issue is fun, and
well, because you're conditioned to experience it, but at the same time,
I would love to have this complete story 100%.
Now, here's my question: which format do you hope you can get it in?
Oh, the oversized,
do you want oversized or manga sized?
That's a great question.
Right?
I don't know. I do like her work oversized, but manga size would be super fun.
Yeah. See, and I think it's like the benefits are there for either. The argument can be made for both.
Yes.
Why not both?
Yeah.
You know, because if you're going to be Marvel, you're going to be the largest. You might as well, you know, spend.
Yes.
You know, make two versions.
Yes.
But
for sure.
yeah, no, it's true. I'm glad that X-Men's working out.
Yeah, me too.
What else you got? You had something to say about Zatanna before. I thought it might be something interesting.
We can launch over into
DC a little bit.
Yeah, into DC for a hot second. I actually have the physical of this. But I got Zatanna, Bring Down the House, number 3. We didn't get a chance to talk about number 2 when it came out. I think that I'm like holding it up, like, oh, you got it right there. Yeah, man, this book, like, do yourself a favor. It is a Black Label book, and it's a Black Label book not starring Batman. The thing everyone was asking for, written by Marika Tamake with art by Javier Rodriguez. If you look at this cover and there's anything appealing to you about this
if this
book,
appeals to you,
then you're gonna love the inside of this book, because guess what? That's what it looks like, right? I mean, like, look at this. Look, this is what you're getting yourself into, right?
When you pick up Zatanna.
And again, I don't know if this book is within continuity or not. It's Black Label, so it doesn't matter.
It could or could not be. It really doesn't matter. Or maybe they don't plan for it until it is,
right?
You know?
Or whatever. But it is dealing with a Zatanna who is like, I don't do magic. I just perform magic shows, and there's like a council, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this book, and I really don't want to ruin it for you. Because the journey that we're going on, you know, Zatanna is simultaneously the main character and also like our like Jubilee-esque, where you're just
she's
like,
our ride along.
I'm learning all about this as we go along, right?
Okay.
And you know, like learning terms and you know, understanding history. Although I did read, because I realized I had not read the second issue.
Yes, I remember this coming up.
Oh my
when we were
goodness.
discussing it. Yeah.
So I went back, grabbed that as well, and read through it. There's just so much like really well written dialogue within this.
Oh, that's nice. That's
this
great.
series. You know, I love, you know, we get a lot about Zatara. We get like this council who's just like, we all know about Zatara, blah, 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 blah. And like, Zatanna's like, I know, I lived it. Like, back off.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. But yeah, this gives me not at all, but also the vibes of Strange Fall Sunrise. Like, it's not that. It's not that. But it makes me think of that, because it's like this story that here it is. Who like don't think too much about when, if continuity, don't think too much about it. Just enjoy it. But like the art itself really just reflects some of these psychedelic, you know, elements of magic that we've seen.
Magic really lends itself to like
it
bold,
does.
Fun, different coloring
It
and playing with format, with expectations, with perspective and proportion.
Exactly. And I mean, like, there's just like so much fun, dynamic art in this book, just in general.
Sure.
Like, characters are really, really like great looking. Obviously we get the backwards talking, and so, you know, get your brain ready for that. I noticed, like,
it's always tough to read for me. I don't know why.
You know what though? Like, because I read 2 issues back to back, in this issue I just read it like I was reading it normally, and I was like, did
Zatanna break my brain?
Like,
it's funny.
And then of course at the end of this we get another well-known DC magical character showing up at the end of this, who has a lot of history with Zatanna, and I was thrilled to see them appear, at least probably for the next issue. We'll see where that ends up going. But it really just, this is just a breath of fresh air. Again, it's a Black Label book that doesn't have anything to do with Batman. The art is pretty killer. The only ding against it for me, I wish it was the magazine format.
Yeah, I wish it were bigger.
I really, really do. But I mean, I love it as it is. And I do hope that somehow DC decides that they'd like to do an oversized printing of this, because the art could really, really go for it. It's just really, really great looking art. It's just not my normal thing at all. But it is usually the type of art that when I see it, I'm like, ooh.
You're happy to see it.
I'm happy to see it. I want more of it. I just, you know, I can't get over it.
Yeah.
You know, there's just such a great use of color in it too.
Sure.
Just really interesting panel layouts on the pages. Overall, just the great example of art helping to punctuate the story.
Yeah.
Javier also does the coloring on it too. So yeah, like there'll just be moments where he's just really playing with the coloring within the panel and just punctuates what the character is saying. It's just, I love it so much. So if you're not looking for this, go grab this for real. You're gonna have a good time.
If you'd like a little bit of insight about why they usually don't do the magazine format, it's interesting because, for one thing, it costs more.
Oh, no
DC's
doubt.
Not interested
no
in
doubt.
That. But also, I found that in certain cases, the artists actually prefer.
Oh, I understand
the standard size, which I was surprised.
They're not
to hear.
used to it.
They're not used to it. But there's also another thing: shelf appeal. They don't like their book to. They want their book to fit on the shelf. They don't want it to necessarily stand out off of the shelf. Like, they want it to stand out in terms of cover, but not in terms of jutting out, like physically off of the shelf.
Why?
There's something, I mean, you know.
I guess, you know, it's just everyone has a different aesthetic.
Yes.
I will always look at those books.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because
it's like they're coming out at
it's
you.
just that, and it also means that something special's in there.
Yeah, something different. Oh, absolutely. Well, one of your...
I'm 100% the person who picks out the book that gets me cursed, though. Like, you put me in a library...
Like, oh no, human flesh again, damn it. Yeah, it's funny because the what's it called? One of the artists that you enjoy so much, Ramon Perez, I believe, who works on The Flash, did a book called Tales of Sand. And Tales of Sand is one of those like crazy long, weird format books that doesn't fit on any shelf. It always sticks out. It was one of those books that actually I knew about because I followed him on the internet way back in the day. So I heard about Tales of Sand before it came out.
Yeah.
But even long past that, I always can tell when Tales of Sand is there. Because of like just that particular format.
Yeah. Yeah, you let you know that person has good taste.
That's right. That's right. We have a copy of Tales of Sand, of course. But yeah, Zatanna, recommend.
High recommend. High recommend.
Of course. I read Batman Off-World number 5. It's
Oh
back.
no,
That's
I
right.
didn't read it.
It's okay. I won't spoil it. But Jason Aaron, Doug Mahnke, this is just such a great series, and I'm so glad
I
that
knew
it's
there was
back.
something I was forgetting.
The last time this book came out, it was April 16th. So you may need some context, but they give it to you. Batman's fighting a Thanagarian who is a bounty hunter. I think he's called the Thanagarian.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The whole issue is Batman fighting the Thanagarian and just getting his.
Is it dope?
It is dope. It's just watching Batman like just get his ass handed to him by a Thanagarian, and basically because this is like a flashback book that's kind of like almost like a Legends of the Dark Knight kind of series.
Yeah,
Batman's like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be in space. I'm stupid. Like this is so dumb. I regret having done this.
Yeah, like I did what I needed to do.
Yeah, well, and there's a moment. That's a separate moment. This is when he's just getting his ass kicked by a Thanagarian, being like, "I'm gonna die in space, being killed by a Birdman, when I should be dying bleeding in an alley by a regular person, or at least a clown,
or a different Birdman,
right? Or a different bird-themed man. Yeah, but he'll be themed.
Yeah, not
he won't
actual...
literally have wings. But yeah. So
or what about a man bat
or a man bat? I mean, at least he was a man. This is an alien. You know, Langstrom was born on Earth at least.
Sure, okay.
Because Batman's a massive xenophobe. But like, yeah, he's he's resourceful. He kicks ass. He takes names. He takes a big, important chunk of his ship and wastes it to fight the Thanagarian. We also get an insight into the two siblings from the like Black Suns.
Yeah,
they are horrific and terrifying. When they were first introduced, I was like, oh god, they're going to be genocidal. They're going to be super powerful. They each have their own set of powers. One is much more physically brutal. The other one whispers a word and destroys, galaxies and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's it's your classic Jason Aaron cosmic kind of fare.
Sure.
It is fun. It is great. It is cool. It continues to be fantastic. You could tell, like, I don't know who or why this was so delayed, but you could tell that everybody was happy to be back.
Right. And it's like the penultimate. There's only two. There's one more after this, right?
I believe that there is only one more issue left. And it's funny because, like, this book could keep going. Like,
maybe they will do an Off-World too.
I mean, I would not be surprised. Like, because the thing is, since this is taking place during basically year 2 of Batman.
Yeah.
You could set this at year 3 or whatever. Like, you could do a modern, contemporary version of this story, especially since Aaron ain't leaving anytime soon. He's doing the Superman book.
Right.
For absolute. But yeah, a high recommend for me. Obviously, if you like Jason Aaron, you're gonna love this. If you like Batman, you're gonna enjoy this.
I'm disappointed in myself that I forgot that was coming out.
There's also a fun opportunity here because, like, obviously Batman had teamed up, jailbroke with, and ultimately hooked up with Ione, the Tamaranian.
Yes.
I love this. I'm like, okay, it turns out I know why I was so disappointed, because we joked around about the idea that, like, Batman on one hand is like, good for you, Dick. Yeah, you hook up with Barbara. She's a good people. She comes from good stock.
Yes.
We love Jim.
Yep. We want Jim in the family.
Yeah, we want Jim in the family. I want Jim as a brother-in-law or whatever. I'm in. Yeah, Jim, come on over. It won't be weird if I invite you. He's like, you could always invite me, you dip. But yeah, but for whatever reason, like, Batman barely ever, I think there's one instance in which he acknowledges or even meets Starfire that isn't like in a big group setting where he can just pretend, oh, Starfire, good to see, and then just disappear.
Yeah.
Nope, smoke. But Batman's interaction with this Tamaranian, and the complicated relationship that he has with her, could be his way of being like, Tamaranians can't be trusted.
Don't do it.
Don't hook up with Tamaranians. Like,
I see the appeal.
Right. Like, I get it. I get it, Dick, but
take it from your father.
Yeah, take it from your old man.
Don't walk the same road I do.
Yeah, don't. And I'm like, I love it. Objectively speaking, I think it's funny, and it actually is it informs why he's like, oh man,
yeah,
Tamaranians, they're so beautiful and untrustworthy. But I also I was like, why was I disappointed? And it's because I wanted to write that story. I wanted to tell a story about Batman and Starfire going off and having an adventure together during the period where she's like, why aren't you nice to me? Why don't you acknowledge my relationship with Dick? Is it because I'm an alien and you have a problem with Superman? Everybody knows you don't like Superman because he's an alien. And he's like, and have Batman be like, first of all, yeah,
there are a number of reasons I don't like Superman.
Yeah, I love Superman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's but I was like, man, I wanted to tell that story, but I'm like, that's fine. I really appreciate that there's no moment in this where we flash forward or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is why, or he says something to the camera like, I'll never trust, Tamaranians. It's funny, but also it's a great book. It's totally cool.
I get you.
I don't think it's gonna be a classic people will remember forever, but it is super fun.
What, like Batman Reptile?
Yeah, like Batman Reptilian. You don't even know the title.
I totally forgot it. That classic crossover where Batman has to fight the Mortal Kombat character Reptile.
Yeah, you mean in friggin' DC Universe versus Mortal Kombat, the actual video game that they made, where he literally does that?
Yeah.
The only Mortal Kombat game in which Scorpion screams at his opponent, there is no escape from Scorpion. In one of the most unhinged moments I've ever seen, where I think Shazam is like, I don't want to fight you, and he's like, there's no escape from Scorpion.
You're like,
I'm like, oh my god! First of all, I didn't.
Are you having a different conversation somewhere else?
And it's like, of course they are. We only recorded 3 of these.
Are you yelling at the madness in your mind?
Yeah, there's no escape. Anyway, what else did you read?
Oh man, I don't even know which way to go. How many more do you have?
Not many.
Okay. All right.
Let's do the 2 books that are contending again, like they always do.
Hang on. We don't know. I'm gonna do this one, and then you'll do another one, and then I'll do another one.
And then you'll do the other one that's also for the book.
Let's talk about John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America, number 8. This time by Cy Spurrier with art by Alessandro Estherin. Great, honestly, really great looking art.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen what Campbell would have done with this book, or this specific issue. But I have no qualms against the art. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. But I still would have loved. Choice. I'd love to have poked into another world to have seen Aaron Campbell's version of this.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is the great issue.
Yeah.
Really, really.
I can imagine Estherin being like, oh boy, I got to draw all these fun Vertigo characters.
Yeah.
You know how few of us there are?
Listen, we basically go to hell. Which is so funny because in the Zatanna book, they're like, there is no hell. And I'm like,
oh, there is.
John would disagree.
John, Morpheus, Etrigan.
Yeah, but
there are some characters who would disagree.
Superman. This book, they're like, and don't forget, hell is what you make of it.
Yeah.
Like when you get down there, whatever you think hell is, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like that's why there's so many different iterations of it.
Right.
It's in the eye of the beholder. It's essentially.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa, crazy.
Right. Okay. But it's also a place you go.
Yeah. Listen, this continues John's journey where he is attempting to get back Morpheus's sand.
Yeah, every grain of it
that
he used,
and unfurling the story behind the bag. It's Cy Spurrier flawlessly weaving a story into Vertigo's history.
Yes,
you're watching a retcon occur, knowing in your brain that it's occurring, but also simultaneously going, "What was that always what it was?" Because that's how well written it is. Like Spurrier's doing such a good job that it makes me question characters he's created. I'm like, did they always exist?
Right.
Because that's how flawlessly they kind of melt into the story.
Yeah.
And it is a story about stories, which sounds like really
pretentious,
trite and pretentious.
But it's also like every single Vertigo story you've ever read.
Very much that. It's the power of story. It's it's the power of belief. It's
Grant Morrison would agree with you.
Yeah, and what I love about that is that John simultaneously ascribes to it, but also hates it.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
John wouldn't necessarily swallow that.
Right. But he does when he needs it.
Yeah,
for sure. And in this, we get to see Etrigan show up. This is really fun depiction of Etrigan. He's furry.
Oh,
he's fuzzy furry.
Okay.
And I want to pet him. He's doing his classic rhyme stuff. It's questioned as to why he does that. And John's like, it has to do with your station in hell. The higher you are, the more annoying you are.
The more annoying you are. Interesting.
And so he's just to John.
Oh,
right? He's just the more annoying you are.
Mm-hmm.
So in this also, Etrigan makes fun of him and does several rhymes with you as the reader because Spurrier knows who he's writing for. He's writing a British character for an American audience. So he makes sure that Etrigan at times calls him Constantine. And he's like, it's Constantine.
Oh my God.
And Etrigan's like, I don't give a crap.
Yeah. Right. Like most American readers.
Right. And he uses it against him as a slight.
Okay.
Etrigan's really digging it in. And I'm like,
that's a great way to make that point as well.
Additionally, if you are a person who likes Dredd, like Judge Dredd, and 2000 AD's take on America's
political system,
political-
or at the very least our
just-
police system.
just to, like, America in general at times. Like if you like that type of biting commentary on that, you might actually like this, because there's definitely some swings in this.
Mhm.
And listen, I live in America, and you know, like, I'm from here and all
Right.
that, but like I can appreciate like critique and criticism from the outside
Yes.
looking in. And you know, just in general, just it's good to read things that are commentating on things that might be happening around you. And
Yeah.
that's 100%. I've told you from the get-go that is what the series has been doing, and this one definitely takes some swings in there.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated them.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I honestly really did. It's just, again, like, it's just nice to get some perspective.
Totally.
And the previous series, we saw Spurrier in Hellblazer taking some swings at the English, at like England's, like, you know, whole thing that they had going on over there.
Yes.
So it's not like he's just like, you know, oh, I'll critique you and no, we're fine. Like, you know, he did that. Now he's on this
We're not
one.
blameless. Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty on the nose for sure. You can feel a little anger in this, just like you could feel the anger as he was like, I think, just kind of launching back into this, where he kind of felt resentful about having lost,
Having been canceled.
having the book
be canceled.
canceled. Yeah. But it still fits flawlessly into what we're doing here, because we are talking specifically about American mythology in a way,
Right.
as we've been going along on here. And you know
Hence the title.
and again, like, it's John's take on this. You know, you have to at times separate author from character.
Yes.
And you have to remember that John Constantine would not, you know, would be like this.
Yes.
Like, he 100% would be like this, in my opinion. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, totally. But John makes a deal at the end of this. You know,
Okay.
deal with the devil in a way.
Sure.
And I am looking forward to seeing if he's going to hang on, like, to keep his word,
Mhm.
or if we're going to watch John, like, worm his way out of it, as he typically does.
Yes.
Great book. Again, if you pick this issue up in particular, you probably won't know what's going on. You would probably need at least the issue before it to try to make heads or tail of this one. But also, the art in this is not the standard art for the book. Again, it's very, very lovely, but the art in this book is typically a little darker looking.
Mhm.
And I'm very much looking forward to it. But this is a great, really just great issue. I really, really enjoyed it. Although, honestly, with some of the stuff that was going on here, Campbell's art might have gone too far, where they might have been like, ooh,
please don't.
I know it's a Black Label book, but
Yeah.
Great issue. 10 out of 10. Loved it.
Yay. I'm glad to hear it. Just as okay, so during the period when I was titling / thumbnailing this episode,
Yeah.
I was like,
The
was like,
journey
well,
you went on.
yeah, I was like, well, I didn't get a chance to read Detective and I guess Ultimate X-Men. And then I'm like, wait. We just made this little video, which is essentially just a deleted scene from a back issues episode we released, which is yourself and me and Ethan talking about Spider-Man, of course, which would obviously come up during a Batman discussion.
Right. That's so funny, because someone was like, I don't understand why you guys edit these out. And I was like, oh no, specifically for this tangent, it would not have worked
Yeah, it
at
was
all.
like-
It doesn't make any sense. I can't remember how we got on it.
I know. Well, because it was like you're taking Batman and putting him in this position, and it's like now Batman has caught up with the ridiculousness of Spider-Man. And how did Spider-Man get there? How did comics get here?
Yeah.
So, and that point, by the way, is still kind of intrinsic in the episode that drops this Wednesday, but without the like 18-minute chunk talking about Spider-Man exclusively. And I think that that's also great, because some people, you know, viewership alters. You know, some folk prefer to watch it for the comedy. Some people prefer to watch it to know, you know, exactly what happened specifically, or to get some kind of insight into like why or how that happened. But you lose portions. People sometimes watch it on high speeds, or sometimes they just skip around, and I would never want to watch anything like that, but I don't begrudge anybody who does. And so this guarantees that the right amount of people who we would like to see our thoughts on that Spider-Man topic saw it. So boom, there we go. But yeah, so I wasn't done talking about Spider-Man, because I was like, oh, you know what a nice, like, what an interesting cover from John Romita Jr., Zeb Wells, this time with art by Lee Gatlin. Or Gatlin, I should say. I realized I didn't read a lot of these, but I didn't need it. Like, I didn't need the context, because I read some of this series for a while. But I really like this issue. I was like, oh, but another part of me was like, oh my God, Tombstone again.
There he is.
There he is again. Tombstone. Don't forget, I wanted to make a point about Tombstone, because Tombstone doesn't have any good stories, except for all the ones in Spectacular Spider-Man. But you know, this is an interesting cover. So I was like, all right, I read it. And then I realized, oh my God, it's also a legacy numbered issue.
Yeah.
Which also, I learned something interesting while looking at it, where there was like a moment, it had like all these covers. It was every cover of Amazing Spider-Man, all 950 covers of Amazing Spider-Man. and they used the Secret Wars Battle World Renew Your Vows series to pad the numbers. But then I realized it's actually not as nefarious as it seems, because all the books weren't coming out during that. Like, that was the only book called Amazing Spider-Man coming out during Secret Wars.
Okay.
So as far as like the publishing line was concerned, that was where Amazing Spider-Man was during that time. Except for the fact that it's in an alternate universe, doesn't feature the Spider-Man one in any way, shape, or form. But where does that stop an Amazing Spider-Man comic from, existing? So that was fun. I was like, oh, that's how they're fudging the math.
Okay.
Except they weren't even fudging the math, because that was how many Spider-Man issues came out during a period when there was no book called Amazing Spider-Man coming out. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Superior was collected. Yes, Superior Spider-Man is also in that, because Amazing was canceled and they replaced it with Superior.
Mm-hmm.
But technically was Amazing Spider-Man, I guess. Anyway, Spider-Man learns a very valuable lesson about how to be Spider-Man, which is a lesson he would have learned 1,000 times before that. The previous issue, Spider-Man's on a date with somebody who cares, and she teaches him a lesson that Mary Jane taught him 10,000 times already. So it was just whoof. Every once in a while I'm gonna bomb in and check out this series and see, and it's just no, it's a terrible book. It's really bad. Not only does it John Romita Jr. is doing the best he can. The art is, at times it's actually pretty awesome the way that John Romita Jr. can deliver art. Other times, it's funny. Spider-Man's mask, right? Depending on what perspective you're looking at it, sometimes it might look a little wonky. Sometimes it might look weird to a person who's not trained to read comics and think No Man's face would look like that in profile. And I'm like, but it looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Romita Jr. draws Peter Parker Spider-Man looking straight ahead, and then his head looks weird. It looks too small for his body, and the eyes don't work. And I was just what the hell? And then I was oh wait, but it's also it's straight on. So it's gonna be a weird perspective. But then he's the artist. He chose that perspective. Why did you choose to make it look weird? But anyway, so it like any modern John Romita Jr. book made in the last 10 years, it's gonna be divisive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
As far as it goes, I don't think it's any worse than it ever was. It's just that the dips are more noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the art or the writing goes, as we know, it's just this book couldn't end fast enough. But it's not necessarily Wells's fault, and I want to make that abundantly clear. I don't necessarily think that it is Zeb Wells' fault, though. I don't think that Zeb Wells was suited for this series and this character. I think we'd be having a very different conversation if Zeb Wells was given a spectacular Spider-Man book, or or his own kind of offshoot series, like when Spider-Man was written by. Remember that book that was crazy? It wasn't the Darkhold one, but it was the one where it's
Tim Seeley one?
No, the most recent one where it's it looks like dreams and stuff, and he's I don't know.
Wasn't that Tim Seeley?
I don't recall. No, it wasn't. Okay. But but it was weird. And you bought every issue. It wasn't Nonstop. Nonstop was by Botchlo, and you either like Botchlo or you don't. But anyway, if Zeb Wells had been given a book with Spider-Man doing something more like Hellions, it's oh, that would have worked. Sinister Spider-Man, thank you. It was Sinister Spider-Man.
Wow.
The scary one. Thank you. Exactly. Yes, he did write Avenging Spider-Man. Wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Joe Mad's art allowed that book to be propped up. But
Oh, I was thinking Spine Tingling.
Spine Tingling. That's the one I was thinking of. Yes. Thank you. It was Spine Tingling Spider-Man.
Someone wrote that in the chat.
That's great. That's the one. Yeah. That's the one I was specifically thinking that you read.
Yes.
Spine Tingling Spider-Man is the one where I'm if Zeb Wells had been writing a Spider-Man book like that, we'd probably be oh, look at this little
interesting
gem of a Spider-Man book.
Right.
But because the main flagship book, it seems weirder and worse. But yeah, just awful stuff.
I'm sorry.
But I, Spider-Man learns a valuable lesson, and he gets the literal crap knocked out of him by Tombstone over and over and over again throughout the issue. But he's doing it on purpose this time because he's used his brain and trusted other people. And I'm this would be triumphant or exciting if he did that. If he hadn't already done it or learned that lesson 1,000 times already. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
yeah.
and it's like, look, you're reading a Spider-Man character, it's 950 issues. He's going to have to learn the same lessons over and over again. But sometimes it's more apparent when you're like retreading old ground. It's a shame.
That's totally fair.
Serendipitous Spider-Man.
Saladin Ahmed was who it was.
There you go. Yes, I don't care for Ahmed, but I recognize their capability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've read their Daredevil book too. I'm like, no.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So, what else you got?
Let's talk about the Flash.
Oh boy.
Let's talk about the Flash.
Can you talk about the Flash without also apologizing?
I'm not apologizing
for
this one. This issue is great. I don't care if you weren't reading up to this point. You missed out. I'm sorry. This was a great issue. This is Flash number 12, written by Cy Spurrier, with art by Ramon Perez and Vasco Georgiev. This book almost made me cry.
Oh,
this book was really, really good. And like, man, if you read Hellblazer and this week, man, two different voices, two totally different voices.
Really showing Spurrier showing their range.
Yeah, 100%. Man, how can I even talk about this without like just ruining it for you? But it's like, if where you started on this book, if you were like, this is not what I wanted, I don't think he gets this character, this is not what I'm looking for, whatever, man, it's so this writer thought, man, you know what we need to do in order to make Flash hopeful is to give him something to trip and fall from.
Yes.
So that he could then rise up. You know, like stories. And man, he did. Spurrier took the Flash family and ran them through the ringer.
Oh, sure.
Overall. And this issue, we get to see them like come together and work together and see Wally finally recognize the truth of what's going on. And it's just so beautiful. I'm not apologizing for this book.
No, I know.
No, I mean specifically I have in the past.
You have,
but this issue, this 100%. That this book is a let him cook book. Just let him cook. Because oh my God, it's just like yeah, and like the plan of the bad guy, as much as you might like think like it's like confusing and whatever, and the archangels and all that, but like when you get what the plan is, imagine this: there's a thing that they're saying now is like where the Speed Force is coming from. I don't care if you love or don't love that. But there it is, right? That's what they're saying. This is what we're saying, right? The archangels have come up with a plan to make the fall of this being, or the fall of time. They want to stop time and change. And I was like, I think we as human beings can all appreciate that. Like, we've all had a moment of being afraid of change.
Right.
And time is a factor of change, or change is a factor of time.
That's right. It's inevitability. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on with that, right? But you need to understand, they have a plan. They want to stop that. That really means the end of everything.
Yeah.
Right? When you really think about it.
Yeah.
And so they plan to get the Flashes essentially out of the way and to utilize Wally as a catalyst to create this like occurrence to destroy this being, right? And Eobard is a huge part of that, and it's brilliant the way in which they executed. The idea is that they need to get Wally to imagine this: we're reading a Flash book. Guess what he has to do? He has
to run faster.
He has to run faster than he's ever run before, essentially, right? And so they create a scenario in which he has to do that.
Yeah, which is like, if you're a Flash fan, this is what you're here for. You know, you're here for Captain America to say, I can do this all day. You're here to see the Flash run faster than he's ever run before to solve the problem.
And he does. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler as to how like it happens. But essentially, it's like you got the Eobard, like random, crazy, ridiculous, like consciousness in him.
Yes.
And in the previous issue, what happened was they made Wally run in order to try to prevent something that he thought was going to happen that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And then as he approached the barrier that they needed him to essentially break through or get like fast enough to it, Eobard like launched off of him at the speed he was running.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's brilliant. Like, I love that so much. And now like the Flash family is going to help, and it's really, really sweet. Like, it's just really sweet because it's like Wally has to catch up to this thing now.
Cool.
Like, he has to catch up to it, and he doesn't have anything left.
Right.
And so all the characters he thought had like pushed him aside and whatever, they all basically go up to him and tell him he's doing a good job. Like, and it's like literally, I know it's the thing that I make fun of Scott Snyder for, but it's done really, really well.
Yeah.
Where it's like they all come up there and like, hey man, like you're a legend.
Right.
Like, you're awesome. You're great. And like his future son is just like, I'm really glad I got to see you like this. Like, and I'm like, what happens to him?
Right.
How do you not know him? What happened?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And And it's really, really sweet because it's like, and then all like, his kids show up and all of that. And then at the end, like who's left, but it's like him and Barry running together. And it's really beautiful. Like it's just really beautiful. Just the two of them like running and like how there's like nothing said between the two of them. And it's so sweet. It's like, like what Barry wants to say to him. Like he wants to tell him that like, he's like, I'm sorry, I was so busy waiting for you to need me. I wasn't there when you did.
Wow.
I'm like, like, I'm sorry I couldn't do all that you do. I'm sorry. Like he wanted to say, it's been a joy of my life to see the boy you were become the man you are.
Oh.
Right. It's like, it's so good. Right.
Yeah.
And then they like work together to like cut out this like the Eobard like virus essentially.
Okay.
Here's an interesting thing. I don't know if anybody like Flash fans think of them like this.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this in all of their like. There's just so much beautiful text on these pages for sure. I'm not gonna be able to find it. But essentially that like Barry thinks of him kind of like as a son.
Oh.
And I was like, that's really, really sweet.
Yeah.
Like it's just gorgeous. The art in this like is so great looking. I really loved the artwork throughout this entire book. The last issue also really great. Like obviously like you have to draw people running a lot when you're drawing a Flash book. In the previous issue, we get to see it really like, as he's getting faster and faster, like you're seeing it in like different representation, essentially. Like parts of him you can't see him anymore. And I'm like, it's really, really cool.
That's great.
Love it so much. And again, like I have apologized in the past. So I understand why people don't like it. And I'm like, no.
Now I don't understand.
No, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, I just don't get it. I'm sorry. I just
Well, I'm glad. I'm really glad that it's worked out. I mean, like it's never really let you down.
Right? I know. I'm
now you were a big fan of I think it's Deodato Jr. who drew the previous series or the previous iteration.
I don't remember who was like first on. Loved their art. I know it's very different, but like as we were getting more like hopeful or like as we were getting more comic booky,
Perez came in. Who's really not a traditional comic book artist.
No, but like it just had more of that like brightness to it, and I really think it was the right switch, and I really like it quite a bit.
Nice,
really, really, really like it quite a bit.
Well,
but yeah, like so much fun. I was just waiting for it as we were like going through all the people that were like telling him he's doing great or like that he's awesome or all that. I was like, where is Barry? Right?
Saving him for the end.
It's so good. It's just so good. And I mean, like. That's what you want to see though, right? Like it has those hallmarks of like a really heroic moment. It has the hallmarks kind of like a movie in that way.
Sure.
I do love too that like Spurrier goes out of his way to make sure that like he mentions like the fact that it's like, they've had failures and lessons and losses and endless comparisons. And I'm like, that's again, like not necessarily breaking the fourth wall, but just that acknowledgement of like, yeah. So anyway, oh, there it is. It was literally right there.
It was right there.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
The son he never had. And I was like,
check it out.
So like, yeah, please do. If you've been like not reading this book because you're like, I don't know what's going on. Trust me, Spurrier will not like, he'll leave you in the dark as you're going because he wants you to be exploring the space with the characters, right? Like a little bit more than a lot of the characters, but no one knows more than Spurrier does about it. And by the end, he has explained everything.
Yeah.
All right. And it may be things that you're like, what is this? This seems like it's made up. But you know what? You're dealing in the DC universe, which often can be like driven by hard facts, but there's also a multiversal map that was created.
Right.
So like, if you're okay with that, then like, trust me, I know it might be new or it might be different, but this book is about change in time and like a fear of that. So like, check it out. But this issue in particular, I'm telling you, it just hit me the right way.
That's great.
Anyway, sorry. Very sad.
No, yeah. Well, I read Batman Dark Age #5 from Mark Russell and Mike Allred and Laura Allred. Of course, this is like just an insane Batman story where, it's told from the perspective of a Batman in 2030 who's an old man. And we're watching like him kind of like narrate and explain his life. This one is the most like, you really needed the first 4 books to get to this point. But recently, within, I think the last 2 issues, Superman was introduced and the Justice League was introduced and Batman's there. And like, sometimes it takes another universe to articulate like the differences between Batman and like the rest of the DC universe or the Justice League in particular, where he's just like, I'm surrounded by these people and Gotham is like burning. Like we're talking about aliens and stuff. We're talking about like, warlords and crap. And I need to stop snatcher. Like I have work to do.
Mm-hmm.
So things aren't going well. And You know, Ra's al Ghul is involved. He's returned from Batman's past. Batman, of course, was trained by Ra's al Ghul during Vietnam when he was drafted in this dark, crazy, different version of reality. He's got Robin. Robin's here. I don't really even remember when Robin was introduced in the book. That's how like much of a fever dream this book can be. But there it doesn't miss a step. There's no argument or like weirdness about it. It's just like you take it for granted, mostly because like you can only do that with books like this,
Right.
where it's like, it's Batman. You'll fill in the gaps. You'll fill in the hole with the code of like frog DNA. It's fine. But yeah, it's great. You know, there's this undercurrent where like Pariah works for the board that's trying to keep. He's been there since day one. He's been there since day one. He's like, I know the future and I know where it's all going. And I'm like, is it really Pariah? Like, is it real Pariah? Is it like this version of Pariah? Crazy stuff. But like, he's been working with the board to kind of keep Wayne from taking over Wayne Enterprises and working against him the entire time and like playing chess. Meanwhile, this has been introduced in this. Like, basically, Batman's like, I'm losing my city. It's falling apart. They promote Jim to commissioner. But in this story, it's painted as a bad thing because they're like, sometimes you can't like kill or fire your problems. So the best way to do it is to promote them. Like Gordon is a commissioner now. He can't be there. He can't help Batman. He's not doing all he can. He has to like push papers and deal with like scheduling and stuff like that. So
no, he doesn't.
He does in this. Like that's the idea.
He
like,
has an admin assistant.
Yeah, but commissioners are busy. They're busy with like a lot of like day to day, and they're more like, you know, politicians at this point. So, you know, it's kind of like the sad like goodbye. Where he's like, you're commissioner now. I have to leave. Like I answered to more things. I can't have the signal anymore. You know, all this stuff. Like it's interesting. We're watching Batman like evolve into these different like phases of Batman's history, but through this lens. Catwoman's involved. Batman teams up with his villains. There's a new Joker that is has been Joker the whole time in this story, but it's a woman named Chase Meridian, named after the female protagonist of Batman Forever. You know, like it's all these Batman concepts all crammed into this one crazy looking book that doesn't like apologize or try to put you in context.
It sounds like it's someone who's read like a bunch of random issues of Batman plus seen the movies, and then it's like we're told to write their own Batman history.
Yeah, it's like it's like modern culture writing a Batman story. Like everyone has some idea of what Batman is, and like there's no in this room, you know, like yeah, we'll put that in there, that can go. And that's really neat. And it's just like I don't want to see it all the time, but seeing it in this, I was down. Just a really fun explanation of that. But yeah, so Batman, like hat in hand, goes to the Justice League. He's like, I need your help.
Yeah.
And they're like, you couldn't have picked a worse time to ask for our help because the Anti-Monitor is attacking, and like,
how'd you not notice that?
Because he's doing it over there. Like, and you know, Brainiac is gonna come here and he's gonna pick the bones clean when our world is destroyed, and so we have to fight them and deal with that. But like, realistically, we only have a finite amount of time before the world ends. So like, we can't help you because like it's not as big a deal as all that. Like, you want to save Gotham, we're trying to save the multiverse,
right?
And I'm like, that's so amazing. Batman's like, so I finally found like the humility to ask you people for help, and you didn't. Like,
I'll never help anyone ask for help again.
Right, but like, I don't know. He's not.
I don't learn the right lessons.
He's not like that mad. He's more like, oh. So
yeah,
that was neat. It was just neat. I was really enjoying the series, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But it's just a crazy book, crazy ride. Check it out. Batman
really enjoying the chat mentioning Pariah being my favorite character.
He is, yeah, isn't he?
My favorite DC character
easily.
And Red Ghost being my favorite Marvel character.
Yeah.
And like, where's that team up?
Right.
Someone mentioned that should be the villain of the next Amalgam event. I'm like, please don't.
Yeah,
please don't.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be. Probably like Red Pariah or something. It's just that imaginative.
They're just called Tiffany's Bane.
Yeah. Oh
no.
We
read anything else?
No, we read Aliens versus Avengers #1 from Jonathan Hickman and Assad Ribic. This is a book where I have to assume what happened was Hickman asked for it. Right? Like Hickman went, when you do it, I want it.
Yeah.
And Marvel was like, we don't give a shit about these franchises. Are you sure? He's like, I'm getting paid one way or another to work here. Give me this one, and I'll get
my Krakoa.
Yeah, you destroy you burned Krakoa to the ground. Yeah, which of course, how did you like that moment?
That was great.
I know. But yeah,
Great.
AVA, things to point out before we even get started. The AVA logo that they created here is an inverse of the Weyland-Yutani logo. Haha, genius. Makes sense. Hickman's always a very graphical person. So obviously he like put that together beforehand and then made it intrinsically part of the story.
That I didn't see coming.
No.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it was like, oh no, some rogue Shi'ar agents have found the xenomorph and they're seeding them all over the galaxy and dropping eggs and queens all over the place to try and like, I don't know, destroy everything. Turns out, nope, they're actually,
or at least one of them.
Well, yeah, I think both of those the Shi'ar we see are Weyland-Yutani robots. And before you get started, because I didn't know whether this was in continuity, out of continuity, in the present. Because the cover suggests that it's in the present, but then I realized, like,
oh
no, it's not at all. It's in the future. Like concepts that clearly Hickman had and played with. This is his reality, where he's like, no, Wakanda went to the stars. They have their own planet. They made their own stuff. Like they're a culture and a race, just like the Shi'ar or the Kree. Earth was destroyed by the by the Weyland-Yutani droids who were impersonating Shi'ar years ago.
Right.
And so now we're seeing an Earth that is just overwhelmed, overrun, and unmade by the xenomorph horde. It's the future that Ripley worked so hard to prevent.
Right.
But in the Marvel universe, I'm guessing there is no Ripley. But yeah, so like that's the concept. Is like the aliens have won.
Mm-hmm.
Earth is practically no more. There's one city left. And then Hickman makes sure to tell you, like, where is everybody? What's going on? Well, obviously the X-Men of Krakoa opened up their gates and they went to Mars and they left. And I'm like, that's so funny.
Yeah.
He was like,
no.
Oh no, Krakoa kept going and only one mutant stayed.
It's freaking Apocalypse. What are you doing?
Yeah. An Apocalypse is like, well,
this is
either
everything I've ever wanted.
All I've ever wanted is the perfect organism.
Is to fight.
And fight it. And then find out, am I perfect? Yeah. Or am I wanting? If I'm wanting, then I'm glad that I'm killed by this thing.
I'm really hoping he shows up later.
Yeah, we're going to see.
Oh, so good.
But we get all these different check-ins, and it's really cool.
Do we check in at all with Doom?
No.
And Latveria?
No. So we will. But yeah.
Oh, no, this first of all, can we talk about one other thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like one not very important thing. Look at how great this freaking credits page is.
Did
you see at the top, the very top, right in the spine?
Oh, yay! The Aliens and Predator double page credit sequences or pages.
Yeah.
The Predator crossovers and the Alien crossovers so far have been fantastic.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I think I saw online somewhere that like T'Challa's son may or may not be via Storm, or must be because he has got powers.
Right.
So Hickman's like, no, that happened.
No, that happened too.
They're together.
Yeah.
They in this universe they made that happen.
And yes, in the comments, yes, Ta-Nehisi Coates created the Space Empire, but I'm saying Hickman kept it going in the story. That's the idea.
Yeah. Okay. We're living in a world that it's fine. Don't worry about it. There's no xenomorphs in the other one.
Yep. So obviously, because Valeria is Hickman's favorite character in the whole wide world, she's like she's the hope that they need. But yeah, we're just watching the Marvel heroes that have survived, kind of like come up with a plan, figure out what they're gonna do. Valeria has a scheme.
I like the players that we have. We see like the rest of the four have the four have gone. Like,
yeah,
they're not around anymore. They died.
I think they died. Yeah,
and like Reed left Valeria in Bruce Banner's care.
Yes.
I was like, interesting, good choice. Really like that dynamic of him being like, I made a promise.
Yeah,
so I have to like protect you, and her being like, I'm 45. Leave me alone. I've been divorced twice.
It's true.
And Captain Marvel still being there.
Yep. Still
but then
around.
like recognizing that like there's no hope.
Right.
Like there is no hope. I love also the reveal of where they are. Did you mention that? I'm sorry. I was like like paying attention to the credits page. But that like on Earth, like we watch a whole bunch of places fall. That we see them knocking at the gates of Wakanda. Wakanda like stood their best, but they also fell.
Exactly.
And then we like see that there's like one place on Earth that has stood the test of time, as though someone knew that this could happen.
Right.
And it's a city that's created by like Weyland. And I was like, I love that
so
much.
Yep.
Like just Waylon like just sitting there being like, yeah, that was a possibility.
Oh yeah,
that was always.
Well,
on
I
the
knew
table.
that was gonna happen.
That was
yeah.
Yes, but like even that this fortress is like not doing well.
Yes.
You know, Valeria had like had convinced Waylon, I guess, that she could figure out a way to like take him out.
Yeah,
and she has a plan. She got a plan. Convinces Banner that like it's a good idea to let her go. She goes out. She's not come back. He's concerned.
Yep.
They're pretty sure she's not going to make it back. She comes screaming in. Miles seemingly is
the only Spider-Man of this universe.
Our Spider-Man of this universe. He's trying to help her get back.
Yep.
Hulk goes out there, fights him off.
Right.
Does what Hulk needs to do. Then we see that she's got like an egg.
Yes.
And she's like, I got a plan. And
right.
The plan is I'm going to make a virus. Because like, here's what we thought. We thought this. And it's like all the things you assume that we would have all thought. Like, we thought, oh, we got to stop him here because that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
But
she
like,
breaks down like what all the other crossovers would have been.
Yeah.
It's like how they would have dealt with how the Marvel universe would have responded to the aliens.
Yeah.
And they failed at every point. But this is really how we should have done
it. Yep. And so it's like, we got to make a virus. We'll take out the eggs.
Yeah.
And once we do that, like we've have a chance.
Exactly.
And like for a second, Hulk's like, but like, Banner's like, is it a good idea to introduce a virus we don't know what it's going to do? Like, could that be worse? And,
right.
And like, I think Carol's like,
how could it be worse?
There's nothing worse.
This is it.
We're
at rock bottom,
right?
Yeah.
And so like she's like, but you got to leave. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, something's up.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was a different up because I forgot what world I was living in. But then we found out that Waylon has his own plan.
Yeah.
And presumably that plan is we are leaving.
Yes.
Like that's what it sounds like is their plan.
Oh yeah.
Like we're gonna nuke the site from orbit and we are leaving.
It's the only way to be sure.
And Banner goes down to bring Valeria some dinner. And the shit hits the fan.
Yes, exactly.
And it's spectacular and sad.
And
there's another there's a great reveal that I was like, it took me a minute. I didn't
see that. I was like, wow.
I didn't see that coming, and I also had to go back through the art to understand what I was seeing.
Right.
I was like, what? Because that was such a curveball.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Such a curveball that I was like, oh.
Right.
Okay. But then I'm like, at the end of this, I'm like, did she or did she not complete it? I guess not.
I thought she did, but no, I thought she did not. I thought she had a plan. They know what it is, but it didn't work out.
But I don't think she was able to do it.
No. So then Miles gets face hugged from the egg that they brought.
Yeah.
It hits him. They're like, that's the end of Miles.
Yeah.
They try to take it off anyway. They manage to, because Miles is not wearing his traditional black and reds.
Yeah.
It's the symbiote.
Yes.
And the Venom symbiote at that. And the symbiote must have been part of him. It must have crawled down his throat and kept it from implanting. Although I do think it's going to say that he did definitely get chest bursted, but we'll see.
No, I think it stopped it.
I like to think it stopped it. Like it was a kind of like internal condom, but I don't know.
Well, it would have to break through the symbiote.
Yeah, that's true.
So I assume it did not.
Right. But the symbiote attaches to the face hugger itself and then creates a kind of spider emblem and then attaches back to his suit, which is, of course, a Fantastic Four Future Foundation suit.
Yeah.
And creates yet another awesome action figure from Marvel Legends coming soon.
It's pretty great looking.
It's a great suit.
I was looking at that suit and I was imagining Sal like being like, oh.
It's a cool suit. No, I'm a fan. I like it.
Like the
come on. Like you just created an actual hybrid suit using the Xenomorph face hugger and Spider-Man. I'm in.
Yeah.
But it is really, but that's an awesome moment. Unfortunately, I also saw it like same day the book released on Twitter.
Oh
man, like just
I did not.
I hate people being like, "You made this? I made this. I got credit for that."
Yeah, I showed everybody. Yeah,
Awful.
I'm the best.
Just awful.
Yeah, well, let people have their moment.
Yeah, because I'm very thankful that I did read this like first thing in the morning when this came out.
Yes.
But yeah, and so they're like, all right, I guess new plan.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped for this series. The first issue was fantastic.
Yes.
Sod Ribic was just bringing the A game.
100%.
Bringing the Secret Wars game. It looks exactly as good as Secret Wars.
Yeah. No, it really does.
There is no missed step for Ribic.
He's really good at drawing old people.
He really is. Yeah. Well, Ribic's really good at like crevices and like and textures.
Yeah. No,
But just bringing the A game for the series that
for
that
sure.
Marvel would be like, normally we would just phone it in. We'd have 3 artists on one book, and
I'm also looking forward to, because this is one of those books where I'm looking like, it's like, oh, who is still alive, who isn't. Like you could have like random people show up that might have survived, and it's like, oh, of course they would have survived. Very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, this is I'm gonna call it now. I think, and it has the makings of being the Batman versus Predator of the Marvel era of Alien and Predator crossovers.
100%. I hate to say it, but I do think I like this better than any of the Predator crossovers that they've done so far.
This completely nukes them from orbit.
Well, it really does. But like, it's also like, it's doing a little bit of a Hickmanism. Like Hickman like seems to be at his best when he's like destroyed the world.
Yeah. Oh, he did it like he literally did it in the Wolverine book. Like he's just like, oh, I'm in my post continuity phase of Marvel.
Like I'm in my I'm mad at Marvel phase.
Yeah.
But just really, really great stuff.
Yep.
Loved this book, and you get a lot for this first issue.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, it is $8, but
you know where that money's going.
Yeah, trust me. You see it on every page.
Yeah, absolutely.
This really comes at you fast, though. Like
it better. It
we talked about story.
It could have been sleepy. It could have been like Alien 1, where it's like really slow burn.
Yeah, no.
Boom.
There is a little bit of a burn right at the start, but not really. But like this is not decompression.
No,
they're like getting a lot in this. First
I hope
issue.
we don't. I want as much as I can. I want to live in this world. I want to see every.
I don't want to live in this world.
It's with a distance from reading it, but yeah, I really I love this, and I'm like, I want more. I want to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Hype, and it creates a high watermark for this concept.
Like
the next
How many
time
issues are we getting of it?
I don't know actually. I'll have to look that up. I think I want to say it's 4, but I'd be surprised if it was more than that. Let's see. It's 2. No, they only have 2 solicited, but we'll see.
I mean, they're long. If it was,
yeah, it could be only 2.
It's like a very miserable world.
It is.
I do like visiting.
No, it's true. Yeah. But yeah,
the watcher of those worlds, like, ew.
Yeah, no. So what is the book of the week?
What's yours?
AVA.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Avengers. Very fair. It's Flash for me this week.
Yeah,
I loved Hellblazer.
Usurped Hellblazer.
Yeah, I loved Hellblazer this week, and if Flash hadn't had just such a I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. I mean, most of the books I read this week could have been
the book of the week.
X-Force was the book of the week for me the last time it came out.
Yeah.
Zatanna could have easily been the book of the week for me. Hellblazer, stunning. Loved that issue. Like, that was such a strong issue, such a beautiful issue. AVA, unbelievable. But Flash, man, that one
brought you places.
That took me
emotions.
places. That gave me some real feels.
Yes.
So that's my book
fantastic.
of the week.
Getting into super chats, Baran Foley says, would love to see Ribick's take on Batman's Rogues Gallery. Any specific book you'd like to see him on? Thanks for all you do. You guys are the best. Thanks. Thank you very much. As far as Ribick, I like Ribick, but I like to be surprised by what Ribick's doing. I don't want to upsign Ribick a book, and I don't necessarily care to see Ribick's take on the Joker or anything. I guess it would have to be something like Man-Bat.
I was gonna say Man-Bat.
Yeah, or Clayface. I'll take that.
Clayface would be really
because all
good.
the Crags.
Yeah, all the Crags, all them Crags.
Right. Bear Farmer AVA got me to watch every Alien movie in 4 days.
There's another part of that a little further down.
Excellent. He watched every Alien movie for the first time after reading Alien versus Avengers. Every movie is worse than the last, but still good somehow, except at Resurrections. That was not. Fair enough. Yeah, I think they're...
You know what it is? Alien and Aliens...
Yeah.
Alien 1 and Alien 2 are both very good movies. They're just very different movies.
Yeah, and some reductive critics might say that Aliens is just Alien, but with more aliens or with guns, which I think is, again, reductive and just kind of it's a very sophomoric response. But yeah, Joshua Link, how dare Hickman and Ribick go that hard on an Alien versus Avengers crossover? I think that's the thing.
Right?
This is my point about crossovers and making them today, where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Batman vs. Predator 3 sucks. They gave it to Dixon to do some nonsense with Mr. Freeze. But Chip, Josh, Toms, both of them, Scott, any of these guys, Kelly Thompson, doing any crossover would bring it. Because they also wouldn't just show it wasn't like Scott Snyder would be like, yeah, I want to do a Batman Daredevil or something. And he's just and Marvel go, that's great. And then give him give him 4 artists on the book. You'd be like, no, me and Greg are going to get together. We're going to make a freaking Batman Daredevil book.
Right.
And then she'll be like, and then I'm going to do a Batman Daredevil book. And then, then
Well,
Tom's like, and then I'm going to do a Batman
And
Daredevil
Chip's like,
book.
I'm going to do a Daredevil Batman book.
Right? But they're going to bring the A game and they're going to make it like this is. I don't think AVA was you couldn't have made AVA at any other time but now, except maybe 2015 when Ribic and Hickman were working together on Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Hulkzilla, Happy Monday. The Lifeform episode was really fun. I'm glad you liked it.
Yay.
Mercy was originally conceived as an alien. As usual, Peter David knocked his issue out of the park. Of course he did. That's what he does. But yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to do that. I'm glad people responded to it. That was important.
It's like a fever dream, that book, at
yeah.
times.
M&M, is there a good reason as to why DC moved its physical releases back to Wednesdays, but digital still on Tuesday? What's the thought process? I'm sure there isn't one. I'm sure they don't know. I'm sure they forgot. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. All I know is the books need to be coming out on Wednesdays, and that's what they were doing.
Right.
I'm sure if they are coming out only on Tuesdays digitally through Amazon, it's because of some kind of like in perpetuity deal that they made with Amazon. Mordechai, enjoyed Lifeform video, grabbed the book afterwards, wish it was in physical, or wish I had it in physical. Well, incidentally, it is actually available in physical. You can get it. It's called Hulk Lifeform, and it's available as a trade paperback. It's in the comments below that episode.
Weird.
I know. Yeah, they called it a Hulk book, probably because it was the best one. Chiam Chaser, or Crasher, sorry, says, will Sal forgive me for my crimes? I enjoyed the Spider-Man Gen 13 crossover. Keep up the excellent work. I mean, listen, when I was a kid, I also enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of fun. I was like, wee, look at that. My favorite team, my favorite new team, and my favorite character teaming up and doing stuff. It's only with the benefit of hindsight that I'm like, woof. But I understand. And I don't begrudge anybody liking a book.
Yeah.
So please, no, enjoy it. Enjoy it with impunity. Bear Farmer returned. He said that thing. Cthulhu says, I've never seen a Terminator movie. What should I watch to be able to fully enjoy your backup? I'm excited to read it and keep up all your great work. Thank you very much for doing that, Cthulhu. Let me tell you the situation when it comes to Terminator that's coming out on October 9th from Dynamite Comics. I'm doing a backup. Declan Shalvey is doing the main series. It's going to be 2 pages per issue for a total of a 10-page story that I've written. It's a cohesive 10-page story that'll be broken up 2 pages at a time per issue. The book drops on October 9th, the same day as Absolute Batman. So that'll be how you know it's there. That and the great Terminator cover just jumping off the shelf. Final order cutoff for that book is September 16th. So on the 16th of this month is the last day that your comic shop can order the amount of copies to make sure the store has that many copies. So if you want to make sure you have a copy, tell your comic shop, that you want one before the 16th. That said, that doesn't mean that if you forgot or you didn't get a chance to, you shouldn't go to your comic book store and buy it if you didn't get a chance to pre-order it.
Mm-hmm.
Just go to your comic book store and buy it, and it'll be there for you. That would be great because it couldn't hurt to have a book sell out. But yeah, as far as what movie you should see, first of all, there's only 2 Terminator movies, Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That helped you out. Apparently also the Netflix show is amazing. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. But the only movie you need for this is Terminator 1. And that's only to give you the context for how the time travel stuff works. But even then, let's say they're only operating in the universe of the first movie.
There you go.
So you won't need to know anything about where John and Sarah ended up or what the T-1000 is all about. You really only need to know about the T-800 model and everything is associated with the first movie. But again, if you're looking for an amazing weekend, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and then you're done. Insane Jedi, hi Sal and Tiffany. Hope to catch you guys live this week and support the show. You guys always put out fantastic content. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Insane Jedi. Nothing insane about that. A Secret Boss got the ComicPop baseball hat and showing it off here in Japan. Wow! What happened to ads in comics during the 90s? There were more random ads like Stridex. Now it's promoting the next comic book. Yeah, they're using they use that space because it's like free publicity for them.
Well,
but
I mean, technically, in the beginning of AVA,
there's an ad for the Alien movie.
Yeah, it's Alien and Romulus. I'm like, all right, but yeah, I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, no, and I loved the Stridex things like Zit Fighters from Outer Space. Let's make a comic book story about using rubbing alcohol-soaked makeup removing pads
right.
to combat your acne, which you shouldn't do because it dries out your face.
There's like no ads in this.
Yeah.
What?
How nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I liked it. I liked it, but I also appreciate the scarcity or the sparseness of the ads. Worst case scenario is you get like a book split and you have like a Snickers ad and then comic book on top. It's horrible. Ryan Pauly, hey guys, bit late but wanted to send love.
Oh, thank you so much.
I should also point out, by the way, Secret Boss, thanks for getting the hat. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you guys, by the way, if you bought anything from when we had our pop-up shop, comicpopshop.com, take a picture, post it online, tag us, let us know, because I'd like to see it out in the world. Lenny Laserdisc, hi Sal and Tiffany. Sal, thanks for showing how to use Previews World. I'm currently caught up on all my reading, and pre-ordering has never been easier. Thanks as always. That's amazing. Thank you so much. It's interesting you should say that, because I cut out the 3-minute segment of that, and I'm going to release it as a separate video tomorrow.
That's a great idea.
About how to pre-order your books in less than 3 minutes.
Hooray.
Which cut of T2 do you prefer, the theatrical or special edition? Special edition all the way. Normally I don't, but special edition all the way. I love more Terminator 2 and Terminator 2, the special edition or the Ultimate Edition, depending on what you do with it, ends the franchise. So, that's pretty sweet. Scott Summers, Beyond the White Knight by Sean Murphy got me to start reading comics. Which series got you to start reading comics or get back into them? Spider-Man's always the thing that got me to read them. I read them as a kid colloquially because Batman, but Spider-Man made me want to read them. When I quit, Spider-Man made me quit. When I got back into it, Spider-Man got me back into it, thanks to Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski's run. How about you?
Well, I guess because I read
you read random books.
I read trades and random books because I didn't know I didn't know how to do monthly. I just read a lot of like trades, or graphic novels. But I think what got me reading monthlies was Saga.
Oh, that'll do it. Matt Herndy, hey you two. I know this is a new this week show, but back issues, homework aside, how much time a week do you spend reading older stories or rereading older stories? It's interesting.
He does more of that than me, for sure.
I do that more than you. And even then, but you were talking about how long it takes to just read comics in general.
It takes me a long time.
It takes a while. But I was looking at something on Twitter today where somebody was like, I was thinking about doing a reread. Even Josh on All Stars, our podcast here on this channel, where me and acclaimed writer Joshua Williamson do a show every month. He was talking about how he was like doing a reread of Hickman's entire like saga up to Secret Wars. And I understand the appeal and the approach the comic book fans have, where they're like, I'm doing a reread, I'm going back and I'm starting it all over again. I don't do that. Mostly because I remember a lot of the crap that happened, but like if I do a reread, it's only like I'll be in the library and I'll pick up a book and go, and then revisit it and then see if I want to keep going. And if I do, I'll keep going. But like I don't start at the beginning and like treat it like a marathon. Okay. I just bomb in.
A couple things. One, you have a library. Humble flex.
Yes.
2, most people don't have the same sort of
access.
No, I was gonna say memory
that
you do for books.
Yep.
Right, like Sal has like a really interesting memory, especially like
it's very selective.
But
it doesn't help you, but it does help.
But it has everything to do with comics for sure, and it seems to be more with books that you've read as trades than singles. I've noticed.
Yeah, that's true.
Like there is something about like when you've read a story, especially for back issues or in the past, like, but it has to do with like having it as a book as opposed to your monthlies. I feel that's not true. You also have like random knowledge of like random Spider-Man monthlies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but like Sal has like a really intense memory when it comes to comics.
Yep.
And so like rereads for him, I think are different because it's like I would be the type of person who'd have to do a reread, for sure. Because it's like I don't like categorically like remember every single plot point or whatever. I will randomly like hang on to very distinct threads, or like moment, like artistic moments within it. I'm like, I remember this very specific looking thing.
Yes,
and that's it. But it's like I don't have the same type of like lock you have on it for some reason.
Yeah.
But I don't think most people do. That's probably why Josh was like, I'm going to do a reread.
I understand that entirely.
Like, so when will your podcast be starting up? Josh and Sal reread.
I mean, when he's available.
I know.
Caden McGregor, hey, I'm going to Rose City Comic Con. I'm stoked to meet some great creators. Any tips for attending cons? Trying to figure out the best way to haul around books I'm planning to get signed. My recommendation to you would be to be very selective about the books that you do bring around. You don't want to be the person with like a hand truck full of long boxes. You want to just kind of make sure you have the books that mean something to you that you want to have signed, especially if you're not like going to sell them again. Then you can really compartmentalize. But another thing I like to do is I like to distribute them. I don't try to bring them everything, but one of the things that I like, there's like a trade paperback sized black.
Where are they?
They're in the library on the shelf. At the end of the with the trade paperbacks under like W. But yeah, there's a little like magnetized book that can fit, I don't know, probably like half a dozen or more single issues or a couple of trades, and it really does work to protect your books, but also to like keep them kind of like stay like together. As you can see, like it's the size of like a hardcover in terms of the dimensions, and it opens up. You slide your obviously bagged and boarded book in there, and then the spine is magnetized. So I like to use that when I want to get books signed specifically, because then I can just toss that into a backpack, which I would recommend to use as your main mode of carry on. See how that works? And obviously, the more you have in there, the less like floppy they'll be. Thanks.
Ta-da!
Right? And then they're protected, and then they're good. And you can even slip one into the front, too. There's like a little plastic thingy in here. I have no idea what they're called or who makes them. I'm sorry. But
this is by BCW Supplies.
No, that makes sense. They make long boxes and stuff. So you can actually go to BCW Supplies and just go to their website and check it out, or ask your comic book store. They'll have them. Or if they don't, they oughta. But yeah, as far as attending cons, make sure to wear deodorant, shower,
and prioritize your list.
Like
if you're only there for one day, know who your absolute must gets,
and then go there first.
Yeah, and find out what their schedule is. If they don't have a signing schedule posted somewhere, a lot of them do. It might be on social, or it might be with whatever group that they're signing with. If they're signing with a group, find out what the schedule is. Try to get it ahead of time so that you know. And for people who are like, a big time creator, get there early.
Yes.
Get there early to their line and know that you're going to have to wait in some lines for sure.
If you find yourself kind of tongue tied and often, and you don't really know what to say, have a couple of things you want to make sure that you get out beforehand. Write it down, just jot it down on your phone, or a little post-it note or something, just so you know what you're going to say to them and show their appreciation. Try not to be a booth barnacle and like hang out with them for too long. But take the time that you earned by being in the line.
Yeah.
As far as attending the con, make sure to not buy shoes right before. Buy new shoes, maybe a month before, a few weeks before. Break them in, make sure they're comfortable, and carry a water bottle with you, because you'll want to stay hydrated. And of course, hand sanitizer couldn't go amiss. And and you know what? Keep a mask in your back pocket, because you never know. Sometimes you're walking around and people are just coughing into the ether, and you're like, and you go, man, maybe I should have brought one. Then you just have one in your back pocket. You don't have to wear it necessarily all the time, especially depending on what kind of mandates there are. But like, you might.
I have it. Like, it started happening more this past time we were at the con, but like pre 2020. Do you know how many times someone would just cough as I was like inhaling?
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, and not just like over there.
Yeah, and this is nothing to do with COVID. This is just in the world.
Yes, I was like, why?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
don't do that. I don't want to breathe your warm air.
No,
I'm sorry.
Your moist, warm air. But make sure to but have fun above all things, and take lots of pictures. Take as many pictures as you can, so you also remember what you experienced, and what you want to do for next time.
Yeah, and if you want, like, if a creator's open to having a photo with you,
take one.
Ask like either their helper or like the next person in line.
Possible for me to get a selfie with them? Peach says, watch Predator/Prey for the first of. Watch Predators and Prey for the first BC of Predator versus Wolverine, and just watched T1 and T2 because of Sal's announcement of writing the backup. I'm
going to say that watch Predator and Prey, because we're trying to keep to a certain.
You watch Predators and Prey
for the first
time because of Predator vs. Wolverine.
Thank you,
Peach.
Just watch that. Yeah. No. There's character limitation.
Yeah,
I totally
it's true. By the way, I would recommend if you want to watch Predator, the movies you want to see, folks: Predator, Predator 2, Predators, Prey, and that's it. You're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you like it, man. Thank you so much. And now on to Alien. Aliens, and to the least extent possible, Alien Romulus. But outside of that, you're good.
And Peach, do not apologize.
No, you're doing fine.
We figured it out. We got this.
Revolutionary Dragon. Miles got a new suit. Why can't Peter get a new suit? I mean, the reality is he's an action figure. You could just look at it and be like, that's Peter. Peter got a new suit.
But it's not. It's Miles under there.
We all know why. Danville 900, have you ever read T2 Cybernetic Dawn and T2 Nuclear Twilight comics? They're more difficult to get today, as Malibu Comics had James Cameron's production company involved with the likenesses. That makes sense, because they were. Obviously, we did an episode of back issues on T2 Cybernetic Dawn, which is written by Dan Abnett, and as far as I'm concerned, the only Terminator 3. I never got a chance to read T2 Nuclear Twilight, though I did leaf through it once. I know that one
Was
of my
it in the
comic books has
library?
one. It's not. We
Oh,
don't
okay.
have it. We don't have it.
Oh.
And I know that, like, I think like Boxed or something like that reprinted them in a trade.
Oh, yeah.
Some weird Box Comics. I don't remember. I say it in the episodes. Check out that episode. Also, in T2 Cybernetic Dawn, the episode of back issues we did, that is a 4-man back issues. I thought we'd never done a 4-man back issues before, but in fact, we had all 4 men on the couch for Terminator 2 Cybernetic Dawn, because it was a tie-in for the Terminator 3 Dark Fate movie that they made.
So none of you remember doing that?
Nope, we completely forgot. Just like most people forgot that Joel was on an episode of Back Issues once for Terminator RoboCop by Frank Miller and Walt Simonson. Matt Fisher, hi, what do you think about the pick from the set of Thing wearing a shirt? Won't that inhibit him on the outer space adventure where he's hit by cosmic rays? Does that mean he won't be transformed in the most fantastic ways? No, there's no need to fear. They're here. Just call the 4, because the thing that you may have seen in the leaks is essentially the puppet equivalent stand-in of a Sonic the Hedgehog or a Rocket Raccoon when they're making live action. There is an actor on set wearing a Thing suit. They were putting a Thing mask on him. That is essentially, I think, going to be a stand-in and a light catcher, to be able to approximate for the CG department afterwards, because they need to make sure this effing Fantastic Four movie looks good. Because if you make it look like crap, you've effed up.
I jumped down a few super chats because Matt came back to say something else.
Sorry if the last message was ungrammatical. Well, don't worry about that. I completely understand as you were, interpreting it through song. Mordechai did buy my Lifeform trade from your link, by the way. Might have accidentally bought digital. Always get my trades from y'all. Always appreciate those links. Thanks, man. I'm sorry. It may have, because like with Amazon, there's a Kindle option and a and a trade paperback option. I do try very hard to make sure that the trade paperback option is the one selected, but I'm sorry.
Hope you enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah, I hope so too.
But
Matt,
thank you for
thank you for doing
the
that.
links.
Yeah,
like,
thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, please click the links, folks.
Yeah, we want you to read them.
Matt Herndy, I ask about reading older books as someone who is trying to catch up on old classics I've missed as a new reader versus trying to stay current.
Totally fair.
Exactly. Just prioritize. Just
and it's like, here's the thing. Like, we, there are readers out there who read almost everything that comes out from Marvel in a week, right? And there are readers out there who read maybe 2 series each week, and there are readers out there who fall somewhere in between. Like, don't judge what you should be reading new books based on anyone else. Like, just read what interests you.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself like in like a dirge of stuff to read new, it's a great time to pick up another older book,
That's true.
or like, know that like, all right, on Wednesdays, maybe Thursdays, Fridays, depending how much time you have in a day in order to set aside for reading new books, know that like, all right, well, maybe on Sunday before like, the week starts, like I'll jump into some older books.
Exactly. So you got lots of options there. What was I going to say? Oh, and finally, let's see here. Nur Ravel says, just a little tip for this fun stream and all the great work you guys make / joy you give. Have a great week. Thank you so much, Nur.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, despite the fact that I probably said your name wrong. But thank you so much, man. Nur Ravel? Thank you. But yeah, so let's talk about some books that are coming out this week that we think you should check out, folks. I mean, Batman 152 is coming out. Nice. The Ultimates #4 with one of the best covers the Ultimates has going for them so far. The Absolute Power series is coming to issue 3. Hooray! Yay. I believe there's going to be a Spectacular Spider-Men #7, Birds of Prey 13. It's a big week for books. For me. Penguin 12. And more. Plastic Man No More, the Black Label Plastic Man book is coming out. So if you are one of those people who's like, boo, Batman, Plastic Man is getting a book, a Black Label book. So, if you want to see more different Black Label books, if you want to see Plastic Man and more stuff, that might be a book to check out. There's also a book called Trinity Special World's Finest #1. It is essentially a collection of all of the backups from the Wonder Woman series of John and Damian and Trinity hanging out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to see what this is. So this is gonna be like I definitely gonna be reading like Absolute Powers along with you. Maybe I can catch up on Ultimates. We'll see what happens. There's a Moon Knight annual coming out this week, but it's part of the Infinity Watch annual event, so I'm not gonna be bothering with that. Just as a heads up, if you're a Moon Knight reader and you're just like, I don't care, I'll read whatever, but that's probably not going to be one that I'm going to be grabbing just because it's an annual and has to do with an event, and I'm just not interested in that event at this moment.
Right.
But I will be trying out Exceptional X-Men this week. This is the Eve Ewing book. Yeah, we got Emma Frost on the cover. You know, I really dug her during the Krakoa era. I'd love to see what she's doing now. So let's see where this book takes us in the future. Helen of Windhorn #4 is coming out. Helen of Windhorn, the book of the week.
Book of the week. Yep. Almost certainly.
I can't help it. I just love
it's a great book. Oh, Public Domain #8 is coming out. If you love Chip Zdarsky or you like subversive comic book stories about comic books, Public Domain is an amazing book. Never read that series.
Very cool. Very cool. I wanted to point out that I'm not reading it, but like Star Trek's at 500 issues.
Yeah, I think it's a legacy numbering, but
still,
but hey, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing are doing,
and Chris Cantwell
are working on a Star Trek.
I'm pretty impressed.
I know. I agree with you.
I had no idea they were doing an Arkham Horror book over at Dark Horse. It's Cullen Bunn.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's that issue too. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, might have to go
catch up.
We'll see. There were definitely some books this week that I wanted to check out, so maybe I'll be able to read the Batman Off-World book.
Yes.
Or what have you. But see, this is for me. I feel like they could have mixed this up a little bit better because then I would
could have distributed a little bit more
between these 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't know, people. I don't get it. I definitely will not be grabbing What If Donald Duck became Thor. That's just not up my alley.
No, me too.
That's not my alley, but that might be up your alley. It might be something you're.
No, you might want to read that.
You might be.
I won't begrudge you
about that.
Exactly,
and that's fine. You know, I I feel like the image itself. I was like, I got all I needed to see.
Yeah, I saw it.
I'm good. I got it.
Oost, thanks so much for your support. And of course, Armadillo says, Sal, you're a handsome son of a gun. If you could have a Terminator fight a hero, who would it be? I mean, there's so many great opportunities there. But you know what's funny is there's an artist that I follow who is
not a hero.
Fantastic, who's not a hero, no. But
what about a hero?
The hero would be Batman.
Oh, okay, there you go.
But the artist has already drawn that. There's like a really cool artist whose name escapes me at the moment, which I feel bad about.
No, that's fine. You'll get it. I'm gonna answer while you're
please.
trying to look this. I'm gonna vamp for you for a minute.
Thank you.
Because initially I was like, well, yeah, I was trying to come up with someone that you can't have it be like Superman.
No.
Right?
Well, they did it already.
Well, that doesn't make
Superman
any
versus
sense.
Terminator sucks.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's just not.
Agree.
You need something that's gonna cause an issue, right? Like maybe someone more street level.
Yeah.
Probably not magic. But do I want to see that? I absolutely do.
Oh yeah.
But probably not that, right?
No.
You know, obviously, Spider-Man would be interesting.
I think it'd be very interesting.
But
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Strong.
No, the way to do it was Dominic Glover, by the way. Dominic Glover did an awesome book or an awesome cover or a poster of Batman fighting Terminator Jokers. We have it in the studio, actually.
Yes.
It's awesome. Look that up. Dominic Glover, just type Batman Terminator.
I thought you were thinking the dinosaur.
Oh yeah, well that's like 100 years old. No,
the
the Spider-Man Terminator book writes itself. I mean, Spider-Man versus Terminator is someone that in Spider-Man's circle, and it actually would make more sense if it was someone Spider-Man never knew. Like Spider-Man is inadvertently roped up in a Terminator story where someone is targeted for termination, and Spider-Man's like, I have to get involved. And so Spider-Man's fighting this unkillable robot the entire time who won't stop.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun. I mean, that's a Morlun book.
Well, I mean, someone mentioned Captain America. That's an easy one.
Captain America would be great.
It's a good one for sure.
And in fact, it'd be really fun if it was the Terminator that got sent back to the 40s.
I mean, and honestly, yes, Batman. I totally get it. I think I'd actually rather watch Nightwing.
Nightwing would be really fun. Yeah.
You know, he's just not that Batman doesn't have heart and care.
No, but watching just Grayson get his ass kicked and being like, I won't stop.
Yeah.
Yep. Somebody suggested Punisher. That'd be really fun too.
He's like, I love the future.
But Moon Knight would be cool.
Moon Knight would be quite good.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be quite good. That's how you get any sort of supernatural anything in there for sure. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Alfred,
Yeah. I mean, well, we all know we love Alfred over here.
He can handle himself against a predator. He can handle
He can handle
If
Terminator.
he can dodge a Predator.
He can dodge Terminator. But yeah, so we want to thank you so much for watching. Before we go, of course, you want to watch Tiffany play video games.
Hey, what about Wolverine?
Wolverine versus Terminator? He'd cut it. He has an adamantium. Adamantium beats.
But like, if you're doing that, then you open up the Terminator to having
adamantium.
adamantium.
It's an adamantium endoskeleton. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
Oh, and how about literally anyone in Wakanda?
Right. I mean, Black Panther versus Terminator, really cool.
Right? Or
Yeah.
the Dora Milaje,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, I mean, it writes itself. There is a Dynamite property I have written down that I would like to see.
Yes.
That's similar. I can't talk about it, but it's not in the works or anything. It's just an idea I have. I should pitch it. But anyway, we want to thank you so much for watching. Watch Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop or youtube.com/ComicPop Plays. Both of them will work. They're both simultaneously streamed on Tuesdays and usually Wednesdays. You'll find Tiffany playing video games, typically with Danielle or Ben or me. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but sometimes it's on my own, and when I'm
most
doing
of the time it's on your
solo
own, and it's
game.
a really good. It's a really great show.
Yeah, thanks.
It's totally worth watching. It's such a positive vibe out there. If you're looking to chill and just feel good, and maybe get a little spooked sometimes.
Sometimes. If you want to feel really good about yourself, you should definitely come by when I'm playing Elden Ring. That'll make you feel really good about you.
Yeah, you'll be like, wow.
Yogurt, yes. We can't keep yogurt on the shelves in our supermarket.
Yeah. Ethan plays video games by himself normally.
I don't think he plays anymore.
He
I don't think he
doesn't
has enough time.
He never has time. I feel bad.
But it was Minecraft. We used to love playing Minecraft.
We all would just sit on the server and
here's
play
the thing.
Minecraft.
You want Ethan in your Minecraft game. Why? Because Ethan will organize all your crap.
Yeah, he will disappear, and then you'll come back and find all these chests filled with specific items with text on them labeling what they are.
You need an Ethan in your game.
You do. It's crucial.
And you have to have him there too, so that Ben doesn't burn down the forest.
That's right. Yeah, because he will. But
Terminator versus Red Pariah. No.
Red Pariah, the amalgam character. Yeah, that's a Predator versus Red Pariah.
Leaving.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next time with another episode. Of course, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and of course, thank you to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show, and thank you to our chatters for being cool and kind in the chat. And we will see you guys next time. But if you're watching right now live, I'll see you over on Pros and Cons at 8 p.m., where me and Chris are gonna be talking about Terminator some more, but probably more. I'm sure Chris will talk about other things besides Terminator. But if you like Terminator, or if you want to check it out, pre-order your books. Terminator comes out on October 9th, and you can pre-order up to 9/16. September 16th is the FOC, Final Order Cutoff.
Hooray!
For Terminator #1. Yeah. Thanks,
Hooray!
everybody. Hooray. Bye.
Bye.